Good evening, Bruin fans, and welcome to another edition of Sports Talk with Rags here in Season 4, Episode 26. And tonight, here we are honored here to not only have the Bruins head baseball coach, Roland Wright, but also the guy here in the middle that had a hand in getting Roland the head coach job there in 05. Retired athletic director from Western Branch for 25 years. Mark Didawick. Mark, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, Mark. Thanks for having me on here. It's
Sure,
it's,
no
it's
problem.
gonna be fun.
Yeah, and Roland, how you doing this evening?
All is good, Mark. Again, thanks for what you do for high school sports, man. And as always, like Mark said, it's an honor to be on here, man.
Right. Well, hey, let's start. Appreciate that, Roland, and let's start here in the beginning. I mean, Mark, here with your son playing for Coach Wright. Let's start with you here with Coach Wright leading Bruins baseball.
In what respect? On at what age you want to start talking about when he started playing for a coach or practicing with coach? Because he was in fifth grade when he first started playing or practicing with him. I was scared to death. I went up to the security room and watched him on the video to make sure he was safe because I knew what was going on in the gym and baseballs are going everywhere. So yeah, it was So it was a young age. It was a young
Right.
age.
Yeah, and and just talk about here with as when Coach Wright was leading the program, Nick Thompson, Garrett Brooks, and then with the 14, 17, teams, and then as Harrison played for him, so you definitely saw a progression there in the baseball program.
Yeah, there was a lot of really great baseball players coming out of the program. I think Harrison was fortunate to grow up at Western Branch and seeing these kids play. And I think it inspired him to be a better baseball player and a role model because that's what all these kids, they were great kids. And he watched those kids, how they came on the field, how they came off the field. He watched how they walked and talked, and it made him a better baseball player.
Right, and then also here, Harrison here being part of the Bruin baseball program, and then stepping onto the field there with college, and definitely with the part that he played here last night with getting the key hit over a sweep over Virginia Tech.
Well, all that wouldn't have happened without Roland. Roland was the guy who made the contacts. He was the one who reached out to UVA and said, "Hey, I got this tall, lanky, left-handed kid. I think you need to look at him." And so all the thanks goes to Roland. And I've told him that many a times. Without him, Harrison would not be here at UVA.
Right. Yeah. And Roland, what do you got to add here as Harrison has been one of the kids that played for you and then doing well at the collegiate level.
Man, it's been first. Mark gives me too much credit. I think, Mark and I gave Harrison an avenue to succeed, and Harrison did that on his own. But it's been very neat to watch because, as Mark said, Harrison kind of did the same thing the Twins have done since fifth grade. I remember the first day we had morning practice, and I said, Mark, two things are going to happen. Either he comes out hit with a ball or he survives, and he survived. And, same way the Twins did when they first started coming. So it's been really cool to see where Harrison has started to where he is now. And Mark will tell you it hasn't came very easy. There's been a lot of trials and tribulations on that, but I'm excited about the kid he's became now. The young man he's became now. But it's really to sit there and watching that moment last night, him succeed and just the joy in his face going around the bases. I mean, that's what baseball is about. And as he says in his post game interview, it's things he dreams of. You can dream of them, but you got to be able to handle it. And Harrison's there now. But again, we gave Harrison, both of us, Mark and I, an avenue to succeed. We gave him an opportunity at UVA, and he's pretty much done the rest on his own.
Right. Yeah, and Mark, like we talked about the phone conversation earlier. I mean, looking at what Harrison did yesterday, I mean, but one thing about baseball is you gotta play the game, and as the game goes along, whether it's at bat or out in the field, you don't know when your number is gonna be called, and just also a great example of, just forgetting about the previous at bats and how you're going to produce at this at bat.
Absolutely. Baseball is probably one of the toughest sports out here. Golf is that way, but I played basketball, and basketball is nothing like baseball. You only had a few seconds to worry about your mistake, and then you were ready to play again. Baseball, you could go days, minutes, hours. It could go forever. I was talking to Roland today. I called him last week just to tell him to enjoy the last few weeks of Jake and Josh's season, because it'll fly by. It just seems like yesterday that Harrison was in 5th grade, and his sons, I remember them being born.
Yeah.
But baseball is such a tough sport that it's such a mental sport. I was telling Roland today, Harrison, it has been a roller coaster his whole career. There was a time in his life in 7th grade, he was going to quit baseball because he was struggling so much. I thought he was going to play soccer, and he might have been a pretty good soccer goalie. But he worked through it again and came out on top. And then in probably 11th grade, he hit a spot in 11th grade that he was struggling big time. And then he hit a spot his senior year, and worked through it each time. And then last year as a freshman, he did the same. I mean, he had about a 3-week period this year that he wasn't doing horrible, but he wasn't doing what Harrison Didawick wanted to do, and worked through it again. So yeah, it's a tough sport.
Right. Yeah, and Roland, I mean, your schedule, Granby's right in the middle of the pack in Group 5. Of course, Grassfield there is not only in our district, but Group 6. Greenbrier, Benedictine. They all played for state titles there in private schools, and playing Great Bridge twice in the spring break tournament in Charleston. So just talk about how your schedule here to challenge your team, and here it is, playoff time, and you guys are one of the top seeds.
Yeah, I mean, we've always had a challenging schedule. I think if we survive our regular season schedule, we're prepared for the region, to see how it goes. But yes, the teams that you've named up there, we all played them, and I wanted to take them to South Carolina. We beat James Island, which just won their state title down there in their group. Ashton Ridge is in the finals, so we're gonna play. We're gonna be prepared, and I think it's twofold. Not only is for us in the region to have a tough run to be able to see that, but kids like Harrison, who's at the collegiate level, I don't want them to be surprised at the talent that they have to play, and I don't want them to be surprised at the work demand they have to have when they're up there. And I think we've been fortunate no kids ever came back and said, well, we weren't prepared for that. And even with CB finishing at Radford now, those guys have been through the grind. I like for them when they leave me, they're like, oh, you can yell at me all you want. C-Dub's done that twice as bad as you. But I want them prepared. That's our biggest thing. And I think we're prepared going into the postseason run. It's a tough region, as the teams you just said. Richmond's got some good schools. Grassfield, obviously, Lansdowne. So we'll see. We just kind of talked about, keep playing for each other, to play one more game. Mark's talked about the journey, and I have slowed it down a lot this year with them. I've been able to enjoy every minute of it. The senior day I've been able to enjoy. And now they're just committed to just playing one more game for each other. We're not looking at the final journey. I think even in our runs when we've made it, we've never looked at the final journey. Or the outcome of the journey. We've always looked at, let's look at each day of the journey. Let's just keep playing one more game for each other. And I think the rest of it takes care of itself.
Yes, and Mark, I mean, earlier this season, and it's kind of hard for this guy to make note of it, but he reached a milestone of winning his 300th high school game as Bruins head coach.
It's pretty cool. It's I'm proud of him. There's not another high school coach in the area, the state that I know of, that works as hard as Roland does. I used to kid him all the time. I said, dude, you can't do it all yourself. And I said, you got to get other people to help you. And he goes, nah, I just got to do it. I got to do it. And it's worked out for him. And I'm proud of him. And you talked about being prepared. I have talked to a lot of baseball players from Western Branch over the years that come back and talk to me, and they all say the same thing, that baseball practices at college is easy because they did the same type of practices at Western Branch the whole time. So they were more than prepared. And I think that puts so many of our kids at an advantage going into a school, that they understand how to practice hard, how to work hard, how practice should be organized, so that when they step onto a college field, this is easy. And other kids go in there and all of a sudden they have that holy moly look in their eyes like, wow, I've never done anything like this before. And I think with Roland's efforts, he puts our kids, they have a great advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mark, before we go back to Roland, I mean, I know that one of the Bruin alums that tune in to these interviews, I mean, running into Justin Orndorff, a Bruin alum that played when you were just, first few years into being an athletic director, and then running back into him as not only VCU recognizes him as a legend, but then as Harrison and UVA is playing against VCU.
Yeah, that was a cool night. I mean, he threw out the first pitch, and I didn't even realize it was him. I didn't hear the PA. I was sitting long ways, and of course, I was talking to other people. And then the game goes on, and I'm wonder if Justin is here. And I'm looking around, and then I'm thinking, well, maybe I wouldn't even recognize him if I did. Would he even know me? Well, the game's over, and I'm walking out the front gate, and all of a sudden, I heard some guy goes, "Hey, Mark." And I turned around, it was Justin. And I gave him, we gave each other the biggest hug. And you're right. It was probably my first or second year, and probably my first year being athletic director. So, and it was so cool that he remembered me, and he looks the same. So it was a great moment to get back and talk a little bit about Western Branch. It was cool.
Right. Yeah. And Roland, I mean, Justin is your JV head coach. Zach is a JV coach here in the area. Kyle, being a coach with travel ball. Devin, has also been travel ball coaches. So, it's probably, you probably get some joy in seeing your former players give back at school and the travel ball circuit.
Yeah, I'm thankful I didn't ruin them too bad. So, they're all doing good things. Fish has started becoming a little more part of us. He's came to a bunch of games. He was at Oscar Smith. Obviously came and talked to our kids. I'm proud of Zach over at Grassville. He's done a great job over there. KB is still doing his thing, giving lessons to our guys. And obviously Justin's been on this thing with me for a while. it's a lot to balance, and those young guys are starting to learn that. I get a lot of questions of how'd you balance it? How are you balancing it? And it's just like I tell them, you got to figure out what's important to you. First, you don't have to have a life or a hobby. And then you got to have a spouse that's very supportive of you. And, obviously, Sarah has been supportive for me over the 20 plus years. And, obviously, I couldn't do it without her. So, but you got to put your priorities in straight in line first. That they know that my family's going to be part of our program. They always have been. They always will be. And the program never comes in front of them. So it takes a lot of foundations, and I've told them that. And it takes a lot of time. It's not always about the money. That's the first thing I told them. If you're in it for the financial reasons, you're in for the wrong sport. But if you're in it for seeing kids develop and seeing the joy of that, like to me, last night was that's why I coached last night. To see Harrison step up in that moment, and really I rewound him running the bases more than I did him with the hit, because
Right.
just the joy in his face running around those bases, and then at home plate, he has that effect on that team at UVA. There probably wasn't a guy in that dugout that was like, "Oh man, Harrison just hit a walk off home run." That was true joy, and you could see that. And I think if you're in this profession and you're in it for that, you'll last a long time. If you're in it for a lot of other reasons, you're not going to really last. But I am very proud of those guys. Zach tells me, I wear a different color, but I still bleed blue and gold. And, it was really cool to see him and Justin go head to head at Grassfield this year. So it's been very rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mark, I mean, not only with and Jake and Josh, but Logan Adams is his third baseman. So I know with Harrison and Emma, you know, uh growing up. So it's just awesome to see these young kids now wearing the Bruin uniform.
It is. It is. I mean, yeah, you're right. His sister and Harrison, they went to school together from first grade, and so it was cool to watch her mature into a young lady that she is. And I think she's at what, Clemson or South
Or South
Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those, and doing quite well from what I understand. I keep in touch and with Jeremy and Lindsay all the time. Just see how Logan's doing. And I mean, to be honest with you, I keep in touch. I keep in touch with Roland's dad. That's how I find out about everything about the team. I talk to him probably once a week to see how the team's doing, because it's easier to get a hold of his dad than it is Roland. So he keeps me informed of how well everybody's doing, how they're hitting. He tells me when they're not hitting. He tells me when they're. So it's fun to talk to him, because he's been a big part of this thing too over the years. So over my 4 years or so I got to know him on the sideline, and he's a great guy, and he just loves Jake and Josh and the whole team. So, but yeah, it's cool to look back and follow the kids that Harrison's been with, and see how they progress and grow. And I look forward to seeing what their futures lie in front of them and how well they're going to do.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And Roland, I mean, something that you've done here the last couple of years. Here with Teacher Appreciation Night, and the rec league, and making it youth night. And then there in April, I know that softball started first, but then also with moving over to baseball here with autism awareness night. And so just something here to promote the home games.
Yeah, I think it's important for our kids to give back. We do a great fundraiser, and Harry was a part of that too when we were in the fall, the community service projects. I want our community to be a part of us, and I want our kids to give back to the community. And it really is to make them feel like they're not untouchable, and that they are just humans. I think, besides the Autism Awareness Night and Autism Awareness Month, obviously with that being close to my heart with
Mhm.
Nathan. And thanks to all the other 757 teams that jump on board with that. I think this year was tremendous. We got donations from Grassfield, Great Bridge donated to Autism Speaks Out, which I'm very thankful for that. But this, the youth night is awesome. Those kids get to see what it's like to run out on the field and just to see the joy of their faces run out there. Um, another thing, another one, Poteet's team was there this year. So, it was cool to see a kid that I coached. He's now coaching that team and they got to run out with our guys. The teacher appreciation night, I think we have teachers bidding now to try to get out there on the field with our guys. So, they ask
That's
me each
funny.
year. I'm like, look, it's not till April. They'll find you. So that's become a big thing. But I think after spring break, we like to have a theme for every night out there. We do a sponsors night too for all the businesses that help us do what we can do. But I think it's important for our kids to understand where you came from, where you might be different from others with Autism Awareness Night, and then who's helping you continue to get to where you're going with the Teacher Appreciation Night. So, yeah, we've kind of ran out of themes now. I've got to probably try to add another one to try to keep doing it up each year one time. But like I said, it's just to be able to give back to our community.
Right. Yeah, and Mark, back in the fall, Roland was by himself at the golf cart, and I went up to him, at pregame, and I was like, "Hey, Jake and Josh are a senior. Is this your last year?" And he's like, "No, Rags, I like these younger kids. I don't know when I'm gonna hang it up."
Oh, that's cool. I mean, you want to go as long as you want to go, and but the flip side of that is you don't want to miss Jake and Josh's next year at their schools. What is Randolph Macon and
Lynchburg.
Lynchburg? So you don't want to miss those opportunities either. But you talked about some of the younger kids coming back to Western Branch. Like Jonathan and Garrett. Well, Harrison's first original hitting coaches were Justin and Zach.
Oh wow.
That was the first two hitting coaches he ever had. So yeah, it's kind of cool that now they're coaching JV baseball and soon to be probably sometime as soon as Roland decides to give it up, one of them will be a varsity coach.
Yeah, and Roland, so what is, let's see, I know with regionals are at home sites now, not Memorial Day, Old Dominion, so do we know when the Bruins are gonna host their first regional game?
Yeah, I'll take the suspense off everybody. The first question you asked, Mark.
Uh,
I just don't know what I would do. I hate to fish. I hate to hunt. I hate to play golf. And, I've always, when I took it over in '05 for Jim, I made a promise to myself before obviously we developed a family and going where we're going. I ask each year kids to bring the passion and the energy to play the game, and that's when I know I'm done. When it becomes a job to me to get up and I've lost the passion. I tell every year, every kid, you will know when Coach Wright retires. You will know when CW's retire, and all you got to say is he lost the passion and energy. And I think too many times now coaches stay too long, as Mark said, when they've lost the passion and when they've lost the energy to coach kids. And that's not fair to the kids. That's not fair to my next kids coming up. As long as I like our kids, and it can be only one day a week that I like our kids. It doesn't have to be 6 days. But as long as I like going and doing what I do, I still be there. To answer your question, we've been fortunate enough to be the one seed, so we'll host Highland Springs this Wednesday, 6 o'clock at our place. If we're fortunate enough to win, we'll host all the way out. The way our tournament will go is this Wednesday. The following Tuesday is the second round, and I believe the finals is the following Thursday. You know me, I don't look but one day
right.
ahead, so that's all I know. But yes, we've got a tough opponent of Highland Springs coming in. This time of year, everybody's tough. I know it's a cliche, but they are, and you just got to show up and play and control what you can control. I like where our guys are right now. We've kind of struggled the last 2 weeks playing, but I think mentally we're in the right place right now. As Mark said earlier, baseball is a roller
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. So let's see. So what Coach Wright was saying there was baseball with mental and Roland, you still there? Hello. Mark, I appreciate you coming on. You got any last minute words here for the Bruins as they get ready to host another region quarterfinal game?
Well, I wish him all the luck, and from my understanding, the pitching has been just superb this year. I think Gavin is reaching his potential, his peak, and he's going to VMI, and I think there's his future is bright. And there's another couple pitchers you got, and the batters, and I'm sure they'll come ready to play on Wednesday, and I'm looking forward. I was really hoping they would play tomorrow night. I'm in Charlottesville, and we're leaving to go Tuesday to Charlotte for the ACC tournament. And I was hoping that the schedule would work out, that I would just be able to swing by and watch a baseball game with Western Branch, because I've only gotten to see one game this year, and I was hoping to get down to see another one, but it just unfortunately didn't happen. But I wish them all the luck, and because I can honestly tell you, last year I was jealous. I was jealous last year of their run, because Harrison was never a part of anything like that. We were one and done both years. And of course, the sophomore year was canceled.
Right.
And so we were one and done against Ocean Lakes twice. And so it just I was jealous last year, but I was happy as hell for them. And so I'm hoping they do the same thing this year, and they take the whole thing home.
Yeah, and Mark, what I tell Elizabeth, it's awesome to see now Harrison at the collegiate level wearing number 34, because we remember when Harrison was a kid and he liked someone else wearing number 34.
Yeah, Mark Didawick. That was my number.
I thought it was outfielder that
no. My sister swears that's why he wears 34, because but he wears 34 for Bryce Harper.
Right.
Yeah, that's his favorite. Was his favorite player. He's not. I don't think it's his favorite player now, but he's still really he appreciates how good he is.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, and Roland. I know that Miles has been a great number two, and even when the bats haven't been clicking, pitching and defense has certainly helped Western Branch this year.
It has, and I mean, you've been around me long enough. I've never put the pressure on any arm we have. Even Selby, who's obviously in the major leagues now, to go get me 21 outs, and I'll pat you on the butt in the seventh. I don't think you can go very well. I know you can't go very far, as we want to go with just one pitcher, and I've never put that pressure on a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. Miles has thrown the ball very well this year for us when our hitting has been struggling lately. But our foundation has always been on defense. We don't ask pitchers to strike people out. We're going to play some defense. So that's still the corner staple stone of our program. I think we play defense very well. I just ask our pitchers to throw strikes, and they've done that. And as Mark was saying, Harrison, they were all one and done. I think what's really cool about what I'm proud of, what I'm developed is, not only the 300 wins that I've had, those guys, each guy that called me and text me, they're a part of that. You got to have talent to win 300. It's not, you got to have somebody that can coach it, obviously, yes, but you got to have great assistants. You got to have great players. And I've been blessed for over 20 years to coach talent. You've seen that. And I think, every time we win something as we did last year, every guy that came through that program knows they're a part of that process. And, I still remember I got a call Harrison called me, didn't even text me. He called me before I even got to the bus to say congratulations. And I'm like, dude, that you're just as much as this as we are. Caron was the same way. You know, both those seniors, and Nick was the other one too. Well, Nick and Carter were with me, but those seniors, Lycos was the other ones who I'm thinking of. Lycos call. You know, they know when we win something that they're a part of that process, and I think, you know, that's what's special to me, and what guys invest back into our program, and our guys. You know, Jake is going through struggles right now, and you know, Harrison's the first person who's called and talked to him, and you know, I told Harrison that last night. I appreciate you taking, you know, talking to Jake when he's struggling. He said, "Coach, that's my little brother," and so that's just kind of what's neat about our program, you know. And even though they leave and go somewhere, they don't become untouchable to our guys. And I think, you know, that's what's allowed us to continue to be successful, in this program, because they see the next guy coming up. I want to be like that guy. You know, Harrison had guys. You know, I remember he wanted to be like them, so he knew what it was, what the responsibility of putting our jersey on was. You know, my twins have seen it since they could walk. You know, they knew the responsibility when they put it on. So, you know, in this entire 7U group that I've had, you know, they know the expectations and responsibilities. And they've enjoyed it. You know, Mark has told me again, and there's a lot of people, but you know, I've made a commitment to enjoy every out, every hit, everything that happens this year, because I just didn't want to go back and say, well, I missed that. And it's been enjoyable. I hope it continues to be enjoyable. I hope they make the run they should make. They're a very talented team. And they play the game the right way.
Right. Well, hey, Mark, you got any final comments?
No, I just want to appreciate you. You know, I told you it would be fun getting on here and talking with Roland. It's like we don't talk that much, but but every time we do talk, it just seems like I'm still there at Western Branch. I miss all those guys. There's not many days to go by. I look and say, maybe I shouldn't have retired. Maybe I should have stayed there. And then all of a sudden it dawns on me that, no, I'm okay. I'm ready. I'm okay to be retired. So, like Roland said, I lost the passion there the last couple of years of having to do the work. So it was time for me to go. And so I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And my job now is following Harrison. And so that's been a cool road to do. And I appreciate you having me on here tonight. Yeah. And I wish all the luck to Roland on Wednesday, because I like I say, I'm jealous, but I'm happy as hell.
Right. Well, hey, when Mike and my sister and I were at Western Branch, we had Mr. Knowles, Mr. Pond, Coach Ake as athletic directors, so when you came in, there was some consistency there for about 25 years. So enjoy the ACC tournament until number 34 to keep working hard. And Elizabeth and I were rooting for them until Debbie and Taylor, we said hi.
I will do that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thing. And Roland, any last final comments here?
No, man. I'm honored to have Didawick on. Like you said, we don't talk as much as we should, but I think more importantly, I'm thankful for what you do for high school baseball and getting it out there, and always supporting our kids, whether they're our kids, the other kids. But it's just always an honor to be on here, man.
Well, thanks. Hey, and tell the boys and Sarah, that we said hi, and I think Wednesday night I'll be out there. So thanks again, guys, for coming on, and talk to you all later.
Appreciate it, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
See you, Roland.
All right. See you, Mark. Thanks.
All right.